From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is a tropical weather update.
Fred Gossage here in the Tennessee Valley Weather Center on this Thursday, October 16th, 2025 with your tropical weather update for today. Not a whole lot going on immediately. Tropical Storm Lorenzo weakened yesterday. They issued the final advisory on it, so it's off the board. We currently have no active tropical systems in the Atlantic Basin, but we do have a tropical disturbance that we're watching that may try to develop in the Caribbean next week as it gets over there. It's out here into the east central part of the Atlantic. It will be moving west northwestward over the next several days. It takes a while before it gets into an environment more favorable for tropical development, but we do think that happens toward the early to middle part of next week in the central to western Caribbean, and there is some potential for tropical development there. Now, currently, National Hurricane Center has a 20% chance of this becoming a tropical depression or a tropical storm within the next 7 days. That doesn't mean it's going to stay at 20%, because if you watch these outlooks for any length of time during the summer months, you know that they always start with low probabilities first out the extended range, and then they raise them as we get closer and things get more confident in tropical development. So don't get hung up on it being 20% and that being a low chance. If it does look more likely as we get closer, they will be raising those probabilities. But it's still a little far out. We're talking about the middle of next week before anything would have the chance of really developing. So we have a little ways to watch this still before things become more imminent. Here is the tropical wave we're watching out here in the intertropical convergence zone. It's still a little bit of a low latitude, which is why it's not likely to recurve northward here. It's likely to miss these Atlantic frontal boundaries to the south and undercut them and then move westward in the low-level trade winds into the Caribbean. So it does have that chance to get westward in the Atlantic. And once it does move over into the Western Caribbean, it'll be moving in the very warm water. And as we get into next week, the wind shear looks pretty low, below normal at least, as we get over into the Western Caribbean. So things will be more favorable for development. Now, where it goes from there, way too many factors this far out, because it will depend on how quickly the storm strengthens, if it's even able to, and also the specific exact timing of frontal systems coming across the United States next week. The fact that there are frontal systems coming across the United States will at least open the door for the potential for it to come northward out of the Caribbean, but way too far out and no reason to be overly alarmed about it now. Just pay attention, especially if you do have beach plans, especially the Florida Peninsula or the Bahamas, or if you're taking a Caribbean cruise next week. Just stay in tune with the forecast. No reason to be overly concerned or worried or anything like that. Just pay attention to the weather information that's out there as we head through the next several days as things become more certain, because there could be development in the Caribbean next week. Elsewhere, we have a big old frontal system out here in the west central Atlantic. This is non-tropical in nature, so not expecting development from this. But this little tropical disturbance will undershoot that to the south, so it won't be picked up by it, it looks like, and it will move westward with the low-level trade winds over into the Caribbean. So a lot to watch in the days ahead. Meanwhile, we do have some tropical wave activity rolling off the coast of Africa, but notice that the intertropical convergence zone is shifting back southward as it does this time of year. So we're starting to close the door now on this stuff having a chance of development. We will still watch it. You never can rule out anything, but the window of opportunity for systems rolling off the coast of Africa now starting to come to an end, as it usually does as we head into mid to late October. The next name on the list will be Melissa, and then after that, Nestor and Olga. I don't think we're going to have too many more systems, but we may have a couple to a few more. Keep in mind that even though we usually ramp down pretty hard in activity, historically speaking, the second half of October, we're still in the Atlantic hurricane season through the end of November, and there can still be tropical storms out in the basin somewhere, even occasionally a hurricane or two out in the basin somewhere, even through the month of November. So we'll be watching things very carefully. Our next regularly scheduled tropical weather update comes tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. We'll have that with meteorologist Kelly Ross, and here you can watch that right here on the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel.